All right, let's dive into some German grammar. But instead of cracking open a dusty old textbook, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to follow two travelers, Ralf and Mia, on a trip across Germany. Their journey, their conversations, their arguments, that's going to be our guide to figuring out how this language actually works in the real world. So, our story kicks off in Augsburg, with Ralf and Mia trying to plan a vacation. And right away, they hit, a classic travel snag. They want totally different things. Ralph's dreaming of the rugged, windy coast of the North Sea, what Germans call the Seelandschaft. He wants to go to a little town called Cuxhaven. Mia? No way. She's all about the big city energy of Hamburg and wants to see a show at the famous theater there, the Deutsches Schauspielhaus. Okay, so here they are, trying to figure this all out, searching for flights, when suddenly, crash! A huge noise comes from the living room. Yep, it's the kids. And believe it or not, this little bit of family chaos, that's our entry point into German grammar. It all starts with the simple act of giving an instruction.
So Ralf naturally starts to get up to see what's going on, but Mia calls out to him, "Bleib hier und hilf mir mit den Flugtickets," which just means, stay here and help me with the flight tickets. And just like that, with that one simple sentence, she's given us our first lesson, the command form.
Now, this command form has a proper grammatical name, of course, the imperative mood. In German, you'll hear it called der Imperativ, or even more bluntly, die Befehlsform. And you can't get more direct than that. It literally means the command form. It's the gear you shift into when you need to give an order or just tell someone what to do.
The best way to think about the imperative is as the language's instruction manual mode. Seriously. You know when you're putting together some IKEA furniture and the directions say, insert tab A, tighten screw B? That's the imperative. It's the language of action, of getting things done. Simple as that. Okay, so how exactly did Mia do that? How did she turn bleiben, the verb to stay, into the command bleib? Well, for informal commands, the kind you give to people you know well, it's a really easy three-step process. First, you take the regular do form of the verb, in this case, du bleibst. Step 2, you just chop off that st at the end, and finally, you drop the do pronoun. And boom, you're left with the command bleib, stay.
Now, this is super important. In German, there isn't just one way to give a command. It all boils down to who you're talking to. If it's one friend, you use that do form we just saw, steh auf, or stand up. If you're talking to a group of your friends, you use the ihr form, steht auf. And if you're talking to a stranger or anyone you need to be formal with, you use sie and say, stehen Sie auf.
So fast forward a bit. Ralf and Mia work it out and they make it to Hamburg. Mia's thrilled to go to the theater. But for Ralf, well, the idea brings back a really bad memory from a play he saw in Munich. It involved a very grumpy man who gave him a perfect, if unpleasant, lesson in the formal imperative.
So Ralf had a bit of a cough, and this guy in the row behind him leans over and barks, Seien Sie leise, be quiet. Notice that C? That's not a friendly U, that is the formal, keep your distance U, used to give a very stern order to a stranger.
Oh, and he wasn't done yet. Nope, he followed it up with, hören Sie mit dem Husten auf. Basically, stop that coughing. Are you seeing the pattern here? He's using the full verb, the infinitive, hören, and then adds that formal pronoun Sie.
And honestly, this is kind of the silver lining of the formal command. It's super simple. You just take the verb in its original form, the infinitive, and stick C right after it. It doesn't matter if you're politely asking someone to have a seat or rudely telling them to knock off the coughing. The grammar rule is exactly the same.
All right, so after the hustle and bustle of the city, Ralf finally gets his way. They hop on a train to Cuxhaven, right on the North Sea coast, which is home to this absolutely incredible natural wonder called the Wattenmeer. It's this huge stretch of tidal flats where, for a couple of hours every day, the sea literally disappears and you can walk on the ocean floor.
And of course, the Germans have a fantastic specific word for this experience, Wattwanderung. It means mud-flat hiking. You go out on these guided walks across the seabed, looking for crabs and mussels, and the main event, seals that are just chilling on the sandbanks. And it's right here in this wild, amazing landscape that we stumble upon our next big grammar concept.
So picture this. They're out there, walking on the seabed. And Mia turns to Ralf and asks, Wo sind die Robben, von denen du mir erzählt hast? Where are the seals that you told me about? Now that second half of her question, that you told me about, that is pure grammatical gold. It's a perfect example of how German connects ideas.
So how does German do this? How does it add extra bits of information to build bigger, more descriptive sentences? Well, it uses something called relative clauses. And I want you to think of these as linguistic Lego bricks. They're little pieces of information that you can just snap onto a noun to make your sentence more detailed and interesting.
So what is a relative clause, really? It's basically a little side sentence that acts like an adjective. It can't live on its own, but you snap it onto a noun to give it more flavor, to tell us which one or what kind of thing you're talking about. In Mia's case, it specifies which seals she's asking about.
Okay, let's go back to Mia's sentence and really pull it apart. See how those Lego bricks click together. Wo sind die Robben, von denen du mir erzählt hast?
First up, you've got the main clause. Wo sind die Robben? Where are the seals? It's a full question, makes perfect sense all by itself. And the key piece here, the noun we're about to modify, is die Robben, the seals.
Now here comes that Lego brick, von denen du mir erzählt hast. This whole chunk snaps right onto the seals and tells us exactly which ones we're talking about, the ones Ralf told her about. And the magic connector, the piece that holds it all together, is von denen, which means something like about which or of whom.
And this brings us to 2 golden rules. Seriously, if you get these, you've unlocked a huge part of German sentence structure. Rule number 1, the preposition, words like von, about, or mit, with, is super clingy. Unlike in casual English, it always has to come right before the pronoun that connects the clauses. Rule number 2, the preposition is the boss. It decides what grammatical case the pronoun has to be in. Since von always demands the dative case, the pronoun has to be the dative form denen.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. We've gone from a command in a crowded city to a descriptive question out on this huge empty seabed. And what we've seen is that the structure of a language isn't just a boring set of rules. It's a map that reflects how we actually interact with and experience the world around us.
See, grammar isn't some abstract, scary thing. It's a tool, a really practical one. The imperative form helps us give instructions to navigate our social world, right? And relative clauses, they let us add all these rich, descriptive layers to the things we see and feel, like a one-of-a-kind walk on the ocean floor.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. A Wattwanderung, that walk on the seabed, is only possible because of an invisible yet incredibly powerful structure, the tides. Without that reliable, predictable pattern, it would just be chaos. German grammar is the exact same thing. All those rules about word order and cases, they're not there just to make life difficult. They are the reliable structure that makes complex, beautiful ideas possible. So maybe what a walk on the seabed can teach us is that in both nature and in language, the most amazing experiences are built on a foundation of powerful, hidden rules.